Welcome to Travel in a Minute Extended Version. Today we're going to talk about the Kennedy Space Center. This summer we took our kids to Florida for a few days and we enjoyed the Kennedy Space Center. We were very lucky. What did we get to see while we were there, Chris?
We saw a SpaceX rocket launch. It was one of the Falcon rockets.
9,
yeah. And it was so cool. I'm a space goob and always have been since for many years. So this was the first time I got to see a launch in person, and it was really cool. We were further away than what I'd like to have been. We were like, I think they said like 7 miles.
Yeah.
And this was like at Kennedy Space Center, and so it was a lot further than what you've seen on TV, and so that was a little different. I think there may be some places. I've kind of looked at some stuff since we've been back, and I think there may be some places that you can go that's maybe, if we get to do it again, maybe we'll go a little closer. But at the Space Center, this was the best place, and it was really cool though. It was when it launched, we were a good ways away, so you couldn't really see a whole lot of the rocket actually itself. It was almost like a dot, but the fire behind it and everything, you could see that going up and everything. It was really exciting. I wish I'd counted, but it took a while for the sound to get there.
It did take a while for the sound to get there.
And what was really cool, that it was a really powerful rumble, and it was very loud. The best description I can give of it would probably be, think of maybe like the loudest thunder you've ever heard. It wasn't maybe quite as loud as the thunder that would shake your house and make you think your house is going to fall down, but just a little below that. You felt it, and so it was really cool. It took quite a while for the sound to get there because we were a good ways away, but it was so cool. It was exciting, and if you're a space person or whatever, that's one of the things I've always wanted to do, and it was really exciting. And being SpaceX with everything going on right now, with, I guess we'll call it the current space race or whatever. It's the first time in a long time that there's been a lot of excitement when it comes around space things. Of course, right now they're launching good nights. So often, several times a month there is something launching, and where it used to be you might have something every several months or maybe just once a year or something like that. And so it's a lot different now that there's so many commercial companies that are in it instead of just the government in it. And so there's so many different ones, but like SpaceX has I guess it's a launch pad that's pretty much just for them. Of course, NASA's got stuff down there, but there's quite a few different launch pads that are down there that are used mainly for that. So that was really cool.
So we started our day getting there pretty early.
Yeah.
Pretty early. You could get in, I think it was 8 o'clock.
Yes.
If you were there for the launch. The park was not open yet, but we got in.
Now you walked through the park, you just couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, we got in, we walked through the park, got to the launch viewing area. They had a big screen TV where you could watch. There was a countdown. Yeah, we had to wait a little while. The kids almost didn't make it.
It was hot already. It's in Florida, so it was already hot, and it was good.
But after the launch, we started our day enjoying the different stuff in the park. And
this is at the Kennedy Space Center.
Yes. Yeah. So we first did the newest thing. I can't remember what it's called right now off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. But it had a bunch of different like interactive activities for the kids. They could walk through like the what would be a simulated space station or whatever and see things. John and Jordan did a simulated space landing. They said they failed at that.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of different. So quick overview though of the entire thing, because there were a bunch of different attractions, I guess you'd say, here at we'll call it a park or call it the center, whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, this is something that we had looked at it a little bit before. Now, we'd never been here, and so I'd been to Huntsville several times. We'd done that a few times together, and even back in school days did it. Took one or two of our daughters to it for school trips and stuff like that. Huntsville is a great place, but I was comparing it to Huntsville. There's not really any comparison. This is like,
definitely different.
Yeah, this is like taking, small local amusement park almost and putting it next to Disney World.
Yeah.
Because Kennedy was substantially bigger and more to it than what I ever expected. We thought we were going to be there maybe half a day at the most, we didn't get it all done, and we were there the entire day.
Yeah, we still didn't.
And so we hit
finish
that
Yeah.
one attraction. You had a lot of simulators. There's a lot of what else you remember seeing?
There were big like different kinds of spaceships like hanging from the ceiling. It was great for our son who has Down syndrome because he enjoyed just looking around and taking it all in, and wanted to get involved. He wanted to learn. I felt like he did. The first thing we did was the ride one, and they took us through because we had two in wheelchairs, so they are really accommodating for the wheelchairs and the kids with special needs. So they took us through, got everybody in. Both of our handicapped sons, they both rode it.
And this was the type of a simulator to where like you're actually getting up into it. One of our sons, he was in his wheelchair, and we picked him up and got him in there, got him strapped in and everything. They were real accommodating for that, gave us a little extra time, so we appreciated that. But that was but I mean, man, they really enjoyed it.
This ride almost reminded me a little bit of like Soarin' / the Avatar ride.
Yeah, some of the
it
stuff
kind
from
of
different ones
pushed
at
you
Disney.
out into like a
well, it kind of made you feel like you're getting lifted up, and then of course you've got this big IMAX type screen that's in front of you, and so you're looking. We didn't have glasses on, did we?
No.
Yeah, and so it was, but it was it's like you're going through space and things like that. Now, one cool thing was remember how it ended though? We had a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of funny because we started getting off the ride, and we looked down, and our son Austin.
No shoe.
Shoe's gone. Where's his shoe? And I'm like, where did his shoe? And they're like, ma'am, he lost his shoe on Mars.
Yes.
And so that was, and the thing is, it's like a drop off. I mean, like, underneath you've got like, like a steel floor or whatever, but there's these things that open up. Well, it had obviously fallen down to the bottom of the earth, evidently. And so they had one of their workers went down there, and by the time we actually got out of that room, they had somebody up there with it. So that was really cool.
Really
he flew to Mars really quick. So that was really nice.
It's really nice.
But that was really good. But there was a lot of things that I guess you'd call them museum type things, where you had displays and stuff like that. A lot of historical stuff.
I like the interactive part of it.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot more of that than I expected.
A lot of interactive, yeah. I think one of my favorite things was the Atlantis thing.
Yeah.
We kind of
the
did that.
start of it was amazing.
Yeah, we kind of did that near the end of the day.
Yeah.
But where they're teaching you about Atlantis and how the all of the trips that it made or whatever, and then you're in this room. You think you're looking at a screen.
Yeah, you're looking at a video screen, and you see the ship, and it's like it's flying towards you or something like that. And then the screen kind of fades away, and you're looking, and you're going, "Wait a minute, is that's really there?"
That's really
and then
there.
the screen moves out of the way, and it's the real space shuttle Atlantis, and so that was really cool. And when you think of something, we knew it was there. I mean, the thing was called Atlantis, so obviously, and we knew the ship was in there. But I had in my mind that it was either going to be standing up, which was not what I was expecting. I was really expecting it to be on the wheels. It was neither. It was actually up in the air, angled, pointing towards you, and to where you could walk under it. You could go walk on some catwalks that were kind of above it, and they had the upper doors that were open. You can see inside the bay.
Yeah.
You had the robot arm that was coming out, and it was... it was really cool, and some of the stuff that you learn, like all the heat shields, the little black heat shields that are on the bottom, and even and all the ones that are even on the top, the white. You don't realize, but every single one of them has a little number, like an identification number, and some of them had things where maybe people had written stuff on them, different people, I'm assuming from NASA, because you couldn't actually reach it, as a tourist.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to see that and everything, and to think, man, it's so different when you're really up close compared to what it is when you've seen pictures or on TV or something like that. And it's very big ship, much bigger than what.
And
then
this
you got
area,
in mind.
they had several different simulators. They had a cockpit simulator where kids could get in there and.
Yep.
Get their picture made and flick all the buttons because that's what they want to do. Push the buttons
That's
and
what you're
flip
supposed
them.
to do.
Yeah. And then I took
different spacesuits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can see different ones they used.
I took our little Josie to there was a little simulator where you had to tell Atlantis when to drop its the canisters, I don't know what they're called.
Oh, the SRBs.
Yeah. Anyway, and so she kept doing it, and I would say, no, you need to drop it here. And she kept doing it. She kept failing. She goes, Mommy, how do you do this? And I said, it takes rocket science.
Yeah, evidently. Yeah, but it was so good, and it was good. It was good for all ages. I mean, Josie's 5.
5.
You know, and so that was good. And of course, we enjoyed it as adults. Our daughter's 24, 21, whatever. She's 30, 40 as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. But she's so Jordan's 21, and then let's see,
John's 12.
John's 12, and I was trying to think how he really seemed like he enjoyed it. We weren't sure how he was going to respond to it because he'd never been anything like this, but he seemed like he really had a good time too.
I think they loved the educational part of it, as well.
He likes
as
history and so science and
seeing
stuff. So
things that they had not ever seen before or only saw on television.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things about they had a space center thing. It was like a kids' play area, and half of it was clear, and it was up high. And our son Austin,
it's like a tunnel, like a crawling tunnel. Think of it a playground or whatever, where you just crawl through the tunnel. Now this is 30 feet up in the air.
It's pretty high up in the air.
And so they're going through it, and then
so it gives you the idea of like the space station, in space or whatever. And our son Austin's going through it, and once he got to that clear section, he started freaking out.
Yeah, he's crawling, and he stops, and he looks down, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going any further." Now, we're not going in to get him at this point because
but his sister's behind him. Our 21-year-old's
behind him. But she said she was freaking out too.
But she was like, "Go, Austin, go!"
And he's like, "I'm crawling across the air."
I'm on the other end trying to course him, come to mommy. And bless his heart, he was so scared. But then he wanted to do it again.
Yeah, but he would still freak out at that. Yeah. But it was really cool because basically, think of one of the little indoor play areas, like a McDonald's type deal, whatever, where it's all the tubes and slides and stuff like that. It was the same thing, but it was all space oriented. And so it was set up to where it looked like a space station, and you're crawling through different sections.
Yes.
But you're way up high. And so it kind of gives them that
you can see down to the ground. Yeah, definitely.
And they were way up high.
They were high.
It was, I could definitely see kind of freaking out on that. It was cool. And there was one place over there to where they had a slide. Everybody could kind of slide down together and go down that. And so that was a lot of fun. A lot of really, really, really good stuff. Food was good. And we had lunch. It was, it was average like what you would have at a theme park food. But it was good and well done. And it wasn't like it was been sitting out forever or anything. So it was, it was good. Ice cream was great. So we kind of finished the day off with some ice cream, so that was good. It got pretty warm, but you had a lot of opportunity to go in and outside.
Yeah.
And so that was really nice. And there's a lot of other things that were down there that maybe we didn't get opportunity to do, or that are things that are like extended parts. Like we didn't get to do the tour.
I was so sad we didn't do the bus tour,
and that kind of takes you from launch pad to launch pad.
Yeah, to the launch pad.
Takes you over to one of the main assembly building, I think you call it, that NASA has. And so that's, I would love to have seen that, but I mean, all the other stuff, just kind of gives us an excuse to go back.
Well, yeah, just know if you're going to go, it's really a 2-day event, really.
Yeah.
It's a 2-day.
Because we didn't stop. I mean, we went the whole time and got there, saw
a
launch.
And
by the way, if there's a launch going on, be there for that. It's crazy that you would go through the effort of trying to make a trip to go down there. And what we were doing, so there's several different websites that you can go to that I just typed in space launch on Google and searched it. There were several sites that you could go to that would tell you all the different launches. One I was looking at was actually worldwide, and so it was all kinds of stuff, even in China and other countries. Yeah. But it would tell you by date when launches are scheduled. Most of the ones that over there at Cape Canaveral area, they weren't doing it really much more than like a month in advance, and so a lot of times you want to plan more than that. But maybe try to go down if you for the most part right now they're doing launches just about every week. And so, think about it. If you're going to be down there for 7 days and you know that there's going to be a launch one day, if there's any way to try to keep your schedule flexible, then do that, because you'll know at least a couple of weeks out.
We were looking a few days before, and we knew we wanted to see one.
Yeah.
And so a few days before, we were checking it to make sure.
And that just kind of told us that's when we're going to be at this particular location.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we would have just gone to the beach that day and then gone to the other thing.
One great thing to mention too is our resort that we were staying at, which we're going to do a travel in a minute on as well. But they also had a viewing place from our resort.
Yeah.
But we knew we wanted to be at Kennedy. Now next time, you never know, we might make it. We might see it from the resort. But a lot of places around there have viewing areas.
And you can see it forever away, so it's not like you have to be there.
Yeah.
But it really adds to the excitement when you're around a big crowd like that.
I don't know if you remember when we in Disney World back in May, they had a launch and we saw it.
Yes.
From Disney
I remember
World.
that. Yeah.
So
because everybody's walking around and going, look, there's a spaceship going up in the air. So so you can see it from all over the place.
You can see it from a lot of different places. But just when you're planning your vacation, make sure that you think about and look into it, because you wouldn't want to miss a space center if you can see a launch. That would be great.
And they happen so often nowadays, and I realize the more often something happens, sometimes it gets you to where the
excitement's gone.
The excitement.
Yeah.
But and of course this was our first one seeing it, but I do have to say, for me, I felt like a big kid.
I wanted to be closer.
Yeah.
To be
I would
honest with you.
I would like to have been a little closer to be able to see it all, because you couldn't see the smoke like when it was starting. It really only saw it once the ship cleared a tree line.
And we did not realize that this launch was going up, releasing satellite and coming back.
We didn't realize that.
So we didn't realize it, and so we kind of missed the coming back and landing part.
Which is about the most
if
exciting
you've ever
part.
Seen a Falcon 9 landing, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't even look real. I mean, they come down. Think about this. If you've never seen it, you're basically talking about a rocket falling, okay? And it comes down, and then next thing you know, the legs come out, and it just lands just like it took off or whatever. It's just standing straight up. It's amazing, and it's such cool technology to think about how they do that and how precise they are. I mean, it's super cool, and we missed that. We saw it later on video and stuff, but it was but any of that type of stuff, try to, if you're going to do it, make sure you know which type of rocket's going to launch and find out how long it's going to be up. Is it going to be one that's up there doing something for a little while? That's what I got in my mind, because I was so used to seeing the space shuttles go up and stuff like that as a kid. But this was one, they're launching these up, and they're releasing, once they get up in, I guess, the certain part of the atmosphere, they're releasing all of these satellites, and as soon as they release the satellites, then they let the rocket fall back down. And so, you want to watch that, because it's really exciting to be able to see it.
Yeah, the landing. Another thing that I liked about the Kennedy Space Center is we saw the Hero museum part of it. Yeah. And I never realized, there was a lot of astronauts in there.
This is basically, almost call it like a Hall of Fame type thing, but it was basically just a big listing of, I don't know if it's all the astronauts, but a lot of the astronauts.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool in that same part to be able to see how many missions some of them had been on. And few of the guys had, and maybe even ladies too, several had been on many flights. One of the ones that I saw that I personally was most impressed with was he was someone that actually had been on the Apollo missions. And somebody had been on some of those, and then he went all the way up and was on the space shuttle, and even in current stuff. He'd basically been through like 3 generations of rockets. I don't know what he's doing on it, but evidently he knows what he's doing. He's the guy that you want. I can't remember his name, but I was really impressed with that. And there were a few of them that had been on lots of different ones, and so that was really cool.
Very well decorated.
Yes, and you see all the patches and stuff like that. And of course, there's obviously a memorial to the different shuttles that had exploded and everything, and so that was really nice being able to see that. And those of us that remember when the Challenger blew up, or even if you remember when the Columbia did, but when the Challenger did, that was something that I know I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And I was in my music class, in Miss Kennedy's class, and Miss Browning walked in, one of the coaches, and said, "Turn on the TV, the shuttle just blew up." And so that was something that was life-changing for a lot of people, because it just kind of made some things real, especially the things that we were a fan of. And so it was really nice to see the tributes that they had for that.
Yeah, really nice.
This was a great trip, though. This was something, whether you've got kids or not, but if you enjoy stuff that has to do with science, especially obviously space and stuff like that, or exploration, this is something you kind of have a little bit of pride in it, because obviously it focuses mostly toward the United States and everything, but you also see some things that some of the other nations have done, which is really good too. But It's really cool to see a lot of it. Now, it is mostly geared toward NASA because that's obviously where most of the history is at. However, I suspect that as time goes along, you're going to start seeing more and more with SpaceX and all that.
In the gift shop,
yeah, the gift shop, you had sections for everything.
You had sections for all of the, you had SpaceX. There was.
I got a SpaceX shirt, so I wish I had it on today. I should have worked today, but I got my hat.
Yeah. So they had stuff from other companies there. And obviously they worked together because they were advertising, or not advertising, but publishing the launch or whatever for a SpaceX that day. One thing I want to note too is if you have a homeschooler, this would be a great educational trip for you. Our 5-year-old, she just took it all in. Even now that we're home, we've been home for a month now, and she will ask, "Can we watch the spaceship launch?"
Yeah, we were watching launches that are on YouTube.
5 years old, she wants to watch it again. It impacted her that much, and you can use it as a school credit. Yeah. So if you're planning,
this is one you don't need to miss. And in this area, we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee, is where we're at, and so we're not that far from Huntsville. Yeah. And I realize that Huntsville is one, and go there. Huntsville Space Center is amazing, and they do a great job and everything. But this is like 5 of those put together. Yeah. It seems like it may be more. And so it's substantially larger. Now, I haven't been to Huntsville in a few years, and they may have upgraded a lot of things. But last time I was there, it was excellent. But in comparison to this, there's not really a comparison. It just has a lot of the same stuff, which is great, or seems like the same. It's not exactly the same. No. Some of the ships and things like that they're going to focus on are going to be a little different. The Atlantis thing was very impressive. And it's a very very expensive endeavor that they're doing to do all that, but it was really cool to see all of that type of stuff, and it was really top notch. I mean, it was really good. So definitely, this is something, if you're a science person, if you're a history person, anything, if you think you enjoy stuff like this at all, don't miss the Kennedy Space Center, because it is definitely worth going.
Thanks for joining us today on Travel in a Minute Extended Version. If you have any questions, comments, or if you have anything you want us to check out for you, you can comment that below. Please like, subscribe, and thanks for joining us today on Travel in a Minute Extended Version.
See ya!